Hello, friends, and welcome. Today is day 1 out of the 40 days that I will be reading 1 Corinthians 13. My name's Pam Musser, and I have to say before I get started that this morning I was having technical difficulties, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix it. So anyway, it'll just work out. Once again, Pam Musser, first day out of the 40 days reading 1 Corinthians 13. And I'd also like to ask that if you're inspired, intrigued, motivated in what I'm doing, comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you could subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell, share this message, that would be fantastic. You might be asking yourself, why in the world is this lady doing this? Why is she so driven? Well, I discovered in a dramatic way that yes, love is patient, and yes, love is kind, and yes, love is an action. But I also discovered it was a lot more than that. As I began reading 1 Corinthians 13, I noticed how my perspective started to change, and it was rapid. And my relationships started to shift and change. However, I noticed something very subtle, and it bothered me, and it was my thoughts. I could be acting kind and loving, and I could be speaking kind and loving words. However, there were little whispers in the back of my mind that weren't loving at all. And I knew because of what I was reading, it could be different. And that's what I wanted. I guess you could say I was out of sync or I was buffering, so to speak. Beyond that, on a larger scale, can you imagine what might happen if a criminal or a sex trafficker or a bully just randomly heard this message? You know, it could absolutely stop them in their tracks. I believe that. These words are so incredibly powerful. So, you know, I've asked myself a million times over, is this a grandiose idea? Am I nutty? Am I crazy? Am I naive? And honestly, the answer always comes back. And that's yes, absolutely. And I'm good with that. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Today, I am going to read out of the Amplified translation of the Bible. And if you don't know what that is, it's a combination of the Greek and Hebrew that's been translated in it. It gives just an amazing description. So here we go. 1 Corinthians 13. If I can speak in the tongues of men and even of angels, but have not love, that reasoning, intentional, spiritual devotion, such as is inspired by God's love for and in us, I am only a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers, the gift of interpreting the divine will and purpose, and understand all secret truths and mysteries, and possess all knowledge. And if I have sufficient faith so that I can remove mountains, but have not love, God's love in me, I'm nothing, a useless nobody. That's huge. That's a huge statement, a useless nobody. Even if I dole out all that I have to the poor in providing food, and if I surrender my body to be burned or in order that I may glory, but have not love, God's love in me, I gain nothing. Love endures long and is patient and kind. Love never is envious nor boils over with jealousy, is not boastful or vainglorious, does not display itself haughtily. It is not conceited, arrogant, and inflated with pride. It is not rude and unmannerly and does not act unbecomingly. Love, God's love in us, does not insist on its own rights or its own way, for it is not self-seeking. It is not touchy or fretful or resentful. It takes no account of the evil done to it. It pays no attention to a suffered wrong. It does not rejoice at injustice and unrighteousness, but rejoices when right and truth prevail. I love this part. Love bears up under anything, and everything that comes is ever ready to believe the best of every person. Its hopes are fadeless under all circumstances, and it endures everything without weakening. I would love to have that. Love never fails, never fades out or becomes obsolete or comes to an end. As for prophecy, the gift of interpreting the divine will and purpose, it will be fulfilled and pass away and cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. It will lose its value and be superseded by truth. For our knowledge is fragmentary, incomplete, and imperfect. And our prophecy, our teaching is fragmentary, incomplete, and imperfect. But when the complete and perfect total comes, the incomplete and imperfect will vanish away, become antiquated, void, and superseded. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. Now that I have become a man, I am done with childish ways and have put them aside. For now, we're looking in a mirror that gives only a dim, blurred reflection of reality, as in a riddle or enigma. But then, when perfection comes, we shall see in reality and face to face. Now I know in part, imperfectly, but then I shall know and understand fully and clearly, even in the same manner as I have been fully and clearly known and understood by God. And so, faith, love, abide. Faith, conviction and belief respecting man's relation to God and divine things. Hope, joyful and confident expectation of eternal salvation. Love, true affection for God and man, growing out of God's love for and in us. These three. But the greatest of these is love. Isn't that beautiful? If you've been inspired, intrigued, motivated, whatever, comment below, subscribe to this channel, share it. And in the meantime, have an amazing day, whether you're at work or at home or watching cat videos. That's exactly what I'm going to do right now. I discovered cat videos over this COVID sabbatical, and I love it. So I will see you tomorrow morning, and peace be with you.